There's some extensive visuals of the survivor of the crash that we have right now. What really happened today afternoon, remember this crash took place between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. And these are the first extensive visuals of the plane crash that took place just near Ahmedabad airport after the plane actually took off.
Indeed, Vasudha, we can see some of those visuals right here as we were talking about what really happened. A minute into the takeoff is when the Mayday signal was given by the pilot, and there you can see this is the clearest visual of this entire tragedy that you can see. We are zooming in as much as we can for our viewers. At there you can see immediately 1 minute into the takeoff, 660 odd feet is what it went up to. Mayday signal by the pilot, and then it crashed, and then you can see large smoke coming in. It fell into that residential area, that medical college hostel that we've been talking about. We're playing that once again for you viewers. This is the clearest video of the ill-fated AI 717 and the crash. There you can see it's taking off, attempting to take off in all, as you can see there, because a minute into the takeoff is when the Mayday signal was given by the pilot. There you can see it's trying to take off. A lot of experts suggest that it was not in the ideal takeoff position. We're going to wait for an official authority to come and say that in so many words. But it seems several people have been coming in on the broadcast and saying that it was not in the ideal takeoff position. The flaps weren't. And that is the exact spot, Vasudha. You can see it's now going down. That is the exact spot. And now it's crashed all in just about 2 minutes.
So hardly a minute there, and so much that the final transmission of this aircraft reveals, Gauri, and clearly there'll be questions raised on the kind of recent maintenance or technical issues that could have been there with this flight, because like you pointed out, a lot of experts have also highlighted the kind of postures that this aircraft had, and of course how old was this aircraft. One thing that we know for sure is that this was one of the safest planes to travel in. So of course there are questions with regard to Air India following standard safety protocols in free flight checks and also ensuring crew readiness. But most importantly, those visuals there, the first ever visuals of this aviation tragedy that India witnessed today with 242 people on board. A lot of them feared dead, but of course the official numbers are awaited. Home Minister Amit Shah is on ground, is in Ahmedabad today, along with Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu. Why did the aircraft crash into this medical hostel? You can see how the aircraft is crashing within a minute of taking off. But a lot of answering that needs to be done by not just Air India, but also DGCA and several others.
Indeed, Vasudha, as you pointed out clearly, that the sequence of events, the short video that tells the entire story, 59 seconds of the complete horror that you can see on your screens right now, viewers. If you are tuning in, viewers who are tuning in right now to the NDTV broadcast, on your screens right now at the 59 seconds of horror that tells the story of just how AI 717 crashed today. 1 minute into its takeoff, the Mayday sign was given by the pilot, and then there could not be any nobody could actually establish contact. The ATC could not establish contact with the pilot, because after that is when the crash took place. And we're playing that out. We're going to continue to play that out. Vasudha, we were speaking also about the international reactions that were coming in. Let's play out this soundbite of David Lammy, the Foreign Minister of UK. Remember, there were 53 British nationals there. Let's quickly play that out.
We do have gas.
And I'm sure those of the entire House are with those who've been affected by the tragic plane crash in India this morning. We know that British nationals were on board, and Mr. Speaker, I can confirm that the FCDO is working urgently with local authorities to support British nationals and their families, and has stood up a crisis team in both Delhi and in London.
So we're going back to the first visuals of what really happened in that crash there, Gauri, and people are talking about an engine failure, a structural defect, or possibly lapses in human or mechanical protocols. But what looks very clear is that you know, it took off and within seconds it crashed, and that too in a densely populated, you know, residential area in Vastrapur, and all of this happening in Meghani Nagar, which is one of those, you know, popular areas in Ahmedabad, and it's very unfortunate that 6 students also lost their lives.
Indeed.
Because it crashed into BJ.
It was a hostel of
Yes,
medical
of
students.
doctors, yes.
Right.
And these doctors were having their lunch in their mess. I was speaking to one of their doctors there, and one of the cooks ran out because the kitchen caught fire and all the walls collapsed. That's what the doctor said, and it was a complete horror.
In fact, you know, Vasudha, there was 90 tons of fuel on that aircraft because it was just 1 minute into its journey, and when it fell, and that is when you saw these smokes coming up.
Okay, Shiv Arur joins us from the newsroom. Shiv, tell us a little bit about the first visuals that we are watching of this aircraft taking off. Explain to us what is it that you can read from this?
Now, I want to advise viewer discretion because these images are some of the most troubling images, and we want to be as sensitive as possible as we continue to report them. This is the full sequence, a 59-second video of flight AI 171 here at the Ahmedabad airport at 1:38 p.m. You can see it taking off. Now, count the number of seconds that the aircraft is in the air. I have just done so. You can see that the aircraft is not climbing at the requisite climb rate. There clearly is something wrong. It plateaus just about 15 seconds after liftoff. It starts to descend. You can see the pilot starting to pitch the nose up, obviously frantically, complete loss of lift. The aircraft starts going belly down, mashing down towards the ground, and then impacts. I've counted 32 seconds after liftoff is when the impact with the ground actually takes place. Now, the first video that we saw that was taken by someone from their house showed the aircraft already in the air and impacting the ground. This particular sequence, 59 seconds in total, captures the entire sequence from takeoff till impact with the ground. Once again, this is a CCTV video taken as a matter of routine from the Ahmedabad airport, where you see the aircraft coming unstuck, taking off. Everything looks normal, but very soon you realize that something is obviously very, very catastrophically wrong, because the aircraft, especially one like the 787, which is very powerful, has a steep rate of climb and it's able to gain altitude very quickly. This one simply goes in a kind of parabolic arc and goes straight down into the ground. This is 59 seconds of some of the most troubling footage that I've seen, and therefore I want to once again disclaim that these are pictures that can be upsetting for people watching this, so I do advise your caution and discretion. But I also want to add an important layer to what we're reporting with these images, which is that as a result of images like this, detailed video footage of this kind, and hopefully there will be higher resolution video available on site at the Ahmedabad airport, the crash investigation, which we can confirm has actually begun, gets very, very valuable inputs about what may have gone catastrophically wrong. At this point of time when the aircraft was in the air is possibly the time when the pilots were pulling back on the yoke, and that's why you see the Boeing 787's nose pitching up quite violently, and then it just goes down very flat. At this point of time, that Mayday message must have been going frantically out to the air traffic control here at the Ahmedabad airport, but when the Ahmedabad air traffic control actually responded, they didn't get a return response from the pilots, which seems to suggest that either things had already proceeded to the point of no return and the pilots were concentrating on trying to recover the aircraft desperately, or the plane had already probably crashed. But just under a minute of footage that captures the entire thing. Remember, through the day, there have been various versions about the aircraft being aloft for about 2 minutes to 5 minutes. We can confirm here on NDTV, because of this video now from the Ahmedabad airport, that the plane stayed aloft for a minuscule 32 seconds. Just 32 seconds, half a minute it stayed in the air before coming hurtling down into the ground. It attained an altitude of just over 800 feet, which is absolutely nothing, and crashed just beyond the airport in the Meghani area of Ahmedabad. This video becomes the second video now capturing the sequence of the crash.
Indeed, Shiv, and probably the clearest of the tragedy that took place today. You mentioned that it was in the air for only half a minute. A lot of aviation experts through the broadcast during the day pointed out that it was not in the correct takeoff position.